Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. Manchester United get their Europa League hopes up and running with a win against Sheriff in Moldova. Lots to get into. Has Ronaldo done enough to start against Man City? I'm sure we'll be talking about that. What did you think about the performance of Anthony and Bruno tonight? Were they up to scratch? What about Casemiro's introduction? Does that do enough for you to bring him into the team over Scott McTominay, who did well in the first half again? And that defence, is that what the big positive is about Manchester United at the moment, that defence? Don't forget, player ratings, links in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. Mark and star for your man of the match. We'll go through that in a few minutes' time. But lots to get into before we talk about that. And you will get people saying, boring United, it's only Sheriff. I genuinely don't think that Sheriff side's that bad. I actually think that the defence, yet again, was superb. And I'll be very surprised if Erik ten Hag doesn't give the defence the credit it deserves. Varane and Martinez had more touches than anybody on the pitch. In the first half, they were the most, they had the most possession. Confident on the ball, both players. High line, nothing got through. I don't think they ever had a chance in the penalty box in the whole game. And they were a very athletic and they were very... tenacious side, like I say. But, to all those people who say, oh, stop getting over the top, Mark, it's only Sheriff. Hold on a minute. It was only Liverpool. It was only Leicester. It was only Southampton. It was only Arsenal. And now it's only Sheriff. It's another clean sheet. This defence of David De Gea, Delot, Varane, Martinez and Malacia have conceded 2 goals in 5 games. I don't care what you say. You can say it's Sheriff. You can say it's Arsenal. These are good teams. All right, Sheriff aren't as good as Arsenal and they're not as good as Liverpool. But this defence just does its job. They do its job. They're super, super organised. They communicate really, really well. And they don't give up many chances. And I think that, we can talk about the attack in a minute. And we can talk about Ronaldo and Bruno and whether you liked it or whether you didn't like it. And we can talk about the midfield and whether they were, a bit quiet in the first half, whatever. But Manchester United are going to pick up more results than losses if they've got a back five that works like that together. They're in sync, they're communicating, they're not giving up many chances, and, it's really, really, really positive. Of course, we want to see Manchester United playing, scintillating, attacking football, but I'm not falling for this nonsense of it's only Sheriff in the Europa League, because that defence has been getting his results in the Premier League. And that defence, every game it's played together, has a 100% win ratio. People love their stats. People were throwing stats at me saying, Man United's win record without Harry Maguire is actually really bad. Well, it's not. Man United's win record under Erik ten Hag without Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof and Maguire is 100%. That defence has a 100% win record over 5 games. Put some credit on that defence's name because they're doing really, really good work and they're giving us the platform to win games. We upgraded our back line so much that De Gea is now the biggest weakness. I love him, but his passing out from the back is embarrassing, says Mason Reed. I think that let's just there's plenty of things to talk about rather than David De Gea, who, to be honest, had another very easy game. That defence is fantastic. So, look, Manchester United won 2-0. Apart from the defence, I think, again, they deserve the credit. Let's talk about the attack. And I think that one of the first things to talk about, really, has Ronaldo done enough? I mean, Ronaldo's Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo is always going to be the headline, isn't he? And I'm looking at the chat and people are saying, no, he was rubbish, 3 out of 10. Some people are saying he played well. I've got to be honest, I'm a massive fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. I wasn't a massive fan of that performance tonight. It was better than Sociedad. But something's just not right with the way that we're using him. I don't really get it. He's becoming. What are you on about, Rory? Is there something wrong with the stream or something? Because it's running absolutely perfect at my side. Rory's just said something like Deadbridge or something. I don't know what that means, but I thought that few people saying average. Look, Ronaldo was all right. Says Pom. Just okay, nothing much, says Common. We'll do the player ratings in a minute. But in general, talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, Kyle says he's done. I love Ronaldo. I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo. But I will never, and you know this, I will not shirk the honest answer. Martial's one of my favourite players, and I had to admit, a year ago that he was doing dreadful in a United shirt. Bruno's one of my favourite players, and I had to admit at the end of last season he was dreadful. So I will not hide behind a bias for a player. I was really pleased that Ronaldo got his goal, but I've got to be honest, I don't know whether it's coming from the training ground. I don't understand what it's all about. I don't know what you think. I don't like Ronaldo dropping deep and doing these little 2-yard passes where it's like you to you. It's like the Chuckle Brothers. It's to you, to me, to you, to me. Like somebody said on the watch along, Rooney used to drop deep. Rooney used to drop deep and he'd ping the ball 30 yards to the other side of the pitch and then he'd sprint into the box. That's a different type of drop. Harry Kane does it as well for Spurs. He'll drop deep, he'll lay it off, and then he's sprinting for the box. The way Ronaldo's dropping deep, it's very lethargic. He drops deep, he gets the ball, he passes it, he gets it back, he passes it. It's almost, I don't know what it's about. And it could be coming from the training ground, so I'm loath to criticise one of my favourite players, but I don't get what that's all about. And I thought there was aspects of the game today that didn't actually... I really expected us today to spend a lot of time on the edge of their box, probing with Eriksen and Sancho and Antony, with Malacia and Dalot overlapping, and us putting some decent crosses into the box. And on occasion we did do it, but Ronaldo just doesn't seem to want to hang around the penalty box. He wants to come deep. I mean, there was times in the first half he was dropping deeper than Eriksen and McTominay to take the ball off the back four, and I'm like, is that tactical? Rashford doesn't do it when he's playing, so why does Ronaldo do it? I don't know. Is he doing it off his own back? Is he doing it through... I personally... Well, I'll give my player rating for Ronaldo on the player ratings, but I don't like that aspect. And, I was talking about this as well. Ronaldo used to be a counter-attacking player. He used to be lightning fast. He's not anymore. So it doesn't make sense to drop deep when you're not as quick as you used to be to get back in the box. Rashford doesn't do it. Rashford just stays on the last man. And I know Ronaldo can't stay on the last man for the ball over the top, but he can play on the last man to, be moving around in the box. Joe says he likes David De Gea. So yeah, I was a bit, for me, Ronaldo will score you 20 Premier League goals if you just let him operate in and around the penalty box. But maybe Ten Hag doesn't want him to do that. Maybe Ten Hag doesn't want his number 9 to do that. I don't know. Has he done enough to start against Man City? I don't think he will. I don't think he will start against Man City. Unless he goes off for Portugal and tears it up, I don't think he will start. But then again, Rashford, Martial not fit. So you never know. But I don't think he was bad today. But I don't think he was... I expected better. But on the other hand, I expected better from Bruno. I thought Bruno was in and out of the game. You can never argue about Bruno's energy levels. They're fantastic. And as captain, he's got a great record. So he's obviously doing something right. But there was a bit too many flicks. And he wasn't the only one. A little bit wasteful in possession. Eriksen, I think, had an understated game. He looked after the ball a lot. But Bruno was a little bit wasteful. Antony, we just didn't get him on the ball. Again, I think Antony's going to have to adjust. We've got to be very protective of Antony because 100 million euros, they'll be on him. It's an opportunity to say Ten Hag spent stupid money from the press, etc. So we've got to be very protective of Antony. He probably does need to simplify his game a bit. I think he's one of those players who gets the ball and instead of moving it with the inside of his foot, he starts using his studs to roll the ball. And I think, he's obviously got an ego. Ronaldo had an ego when we brought him to the club. That's absolutely fine. But, we need him to settle. That's what we need him to do. And I don't think the attacking performance was as good as it could have been today. I was impressed with Sancho, though. I thought Sancho played well. And look, as well, just before we do the player ratings, I wanted to talk about Casemiro. It dropped for me. Must be dodgy Dublin internet. Think he has just lost a yard of pace. He still gets into great positions, but just not quite there this season for whatever reasons, as Rory C. Thank you very much. I think Ronaldo could be in the right positions more if he stayed in the right positions. But let me just give you an example here, because it's always very difficult to criticise what a player is doing when you don't know what's going on the training ground. You don't know whether Ronaldo's being told to drop deep to create space for Bruno to run into. You don't know whether he's being told to drop deep to create space for Sancho or Anthony to move into? You don't know. It could be coming from the training ground, or it could just be the player getting frustrated and wanting to get involved in the play. But in the first half, how many times in the first half did you see Varane or Martinez on the ball and you couldn't see Eriksen or McTominay? They were miles away. And you're like, people are going, oh, McTominay's hiding again. And then in the second half, Casemiro is basically holding hands with Martinez and Varane as the holding midfielder, taking the ball, being part of the play. So, but that could be tactical. Ten Hag could have said in the first half, I want McTominay and Eriksen to move away from the centre-backs to create space for the centre-backs to bring the ball forward, or a different tactical element to the game. So it could have been tactical. It could have been the players dropping off. I'd say it was probably tactical. So it could be tactical with Ronaldo. You just don't know what the tactics are. It didn't play out like the game I thought it was going to do today. I thought we would spend a lot more time in their half. But you know what? Thank God we've played Sheriff now, because we don't have to listen to this, oh, they beat Real Madrid last year. Not one of those players played against Real Madrid last year. It's a whole new team and it's a new manager. So we saw Sheriff tonight, and we don't need to talk about their record against Real Madrid. We can talk about them this season. And I wouldn't be surprised if they got a result against Real Sociedad. I wouldn't be surprised. I think when you've got pace and energy, you can cause teams problem. And I think that the defence for us was very good tonight. Now, Sociedad might go and beat them 4-0, but I don't think they will. They've struggled to beat Omonia Nicosia 2-1 tonight. So we'll probably find out how good Sheriff are when they play Sociedad. I'm pleased with that result tonight. It's job done, in essence, and that's what you want to see, isn't it? So I was very, very pleased with it. We needed a result. But I will say this right here, right now. The Europa League's not a great place to be playing, and we're in it because we were shit last year. We just have to make the best out of it. And the group stage of the Europa League really should be a chance to see Garnacho and Donny, and you do play Maguire and Shaw and Lindelof, who we'll want to talk about in a minute. But we picked our strongest team tonight, and we shouldn't be picking our strongest team in Europe, but in the Europa League. But we're not playing at the weekend, so it was right to keep it. And one thing I do want to say about Erik ten Hag as well, because we've just won 2-0, and I've watched Man United play in Europe for years. And I've seen us play terribly away from home in the Champions League under Sir Alex, but you get the result. And most of those results were built on a strong defence as well. And this is why it was so important that we picked Martinez, Varane, Dalot and Malacia tonight. Because if we didn't pick them, it'll be 4 weeks until they play together against Man City. It's 2 weeks now. International break, 2 weeks, they play Man City on Sunday. So it was important to keep them together, to keep the familiarity and the communication going. So he got it absolutely spot on. Anthony's scared of the ball, says Alchemical. His price is way over what his skills are. Let's just drop expectations. It's the Depay situation. Says, no, look, I think we're going to have to be patient with Anthony. It's always the way with wingers. I like Dalot, but Anthony is in space a lot and he never plays him in. I don't get recycling to the midfield why Anthony is in space, says Nathan Dowdy. But again, it might be what the manager's looking for. Let's do the player ratings anyway. Someone's getting impatient. You're lucky I'm in the mood to say let's do the player ratings, because I'd make you wait. Links in the video description. Mark every player out of 10, 6 being the average. I thought Ronnie dropping deep was tactical, not his choice, since he burns more energy going back and forth. Martinez for man of the match, says Sean. And who should start when Rashford and Martial are back, says After Effector. That's going to be for Ten Hag to decide, isn't it? Because I don't think Rashford's is a centre forward. And Martial is coming back after an injury. We don't know how good Martial is because he played well in pre-season, but it's a long time since he's played consistently well in the Premier League. I think we need a bit of pace against Man City. And I think, you know what? We're going to do the player ratings now. I just want to say this here. I think we're a very long way from being a good side. I think we've got a good defence. We've got a likeable team, and we're a work in progress. But you think about the Liverpool game, you think about the Arsenal game. Liverpool and Arsenal spent long periods of that time playing well against us. Southampton and Leicester both gave us a game. We won all those games because of our defence, and that is the positive at the moment. I still don't think we're moving the ball particularly well from the midfield to the attack. I still don't think we're looking fluid in the attack. I still don't think the fullbacks are really getting forward as well as they could do, although the penalty came from Dalot coming forward and Malacia got forward as well. What I'm saying is there's a lot more gears to go through. We are a work in progress, and October's going to be very, very difficult. We've got Man City away and then Everton away, first 2 Premier League games. And As I said, this season's going to be a roller coaster. I think some people think we're in a good league position. We could get in a title race or top four. We could lose to Man City and Everton and everyone will be moaning again. So it's going to be a work in progress. And, I've firmly got my feet on the ground with that. And I think the Europa League could be one of our best chances of success. Ronaldo drops deep so the opposition back line goes high up the pitch and simultaneously gives the wingers space to exploit the back line. It's just an idea. Yeah, Mercury, I agree. And we did that very well against Arsenal with Rashford twice. Anthony's slow for a winger. Is it just me or did someone notice this? Apart from skills, he ain't fast, says Ashish. Yeah, I did notice that. Soccer Beast, you're gone, by the way. Rudeness will not be tolerated. Anthony is... I've always watched Anthony and thought that he was quite fast, but today he didn't look fast, but he does slow the ball down when he's got it. I think he can be fast. Anyway, let's do the player ratings. For me, De Gea was probably a 6 today. 6.3 is absolutely fine. Well done. I don't think De Gea did anything wrong today. There's a lot of communication going on between De Gea and the centre-back, so you can see that when you're watching their mouths. A couple of shots straight at him. Distribution was reasonable. I'm doing a video on that for the members tomorrow, comparing his distribution last season to this season. So it'll be very interesting. I don't know what the results of that are yet. So, it could be the same. It could be a lot better. It could be worse. Do you think building a team starts with creating a proper defence like Erik ten Hag has done, or should it start with the midfield? I think, Stephen, everyone says good teams are built from the back. I don't think that necessarily is the case. But I think we've had to go back to doing that, definitely, yeah. De Gea was good today. I think Dalot was probably a 6 for me as well, 6.5 for you. He started off the game quite ropey, but he did win the penalty. I think it was a bit of an up and down game for Dalot for me. I mean, to be honest with you, 6.5 is probably the right score. I'd probably give him a 6.5, you're right. He's so improved this season, and I think he will get better. And look, maybe quite rightly, maybe some of our players were a little bit sluggish tonight because they haven't played in a week as well. So, 6.5 for me on that one. Varane was a 7.5 for me, 7.1 for you. Yeah, I mean, I just feel, and I don't want to repeat myself. I haven't said this tonight, so I'm not repeating myself tonight. I feel with Varane and with Martinez, I feel secure. It's like a walk in the dark through a bad area. They make me feel safe. And I've not had that with the United centre-back pairing in years. And I'm not just talking about Maguire and Lindelof. I'm going back probably 10 years. They are so confident on the ball, without the ball. They complement each other with pace and aerial ability and ability to read the game. They're both leaders. I'm just really happy with these two. And they're solid. They're solid, as Paul said. They are the platform. These two centre-backs, for the first time in ages, and they will make mistakes and we will lose games. They're not going to be rock solid all the time. Diaz makes mistakes. Van Dijk makes mistakes. They will make mistakes. But in these 5 games, that's a lot. 5 games, 2 goals conceded, and we've played 3 games away, and the 2 home games have been Arsenal and Liverpool, and we've conceded 2 goals. I think he's been fantastic. He's a Rolls Royce, quite rightly, King. He is. And to the Rolls Royce, we've got the Butcher. For me, I'm going to give him early man of the match for me. He's going to be my vote. But I'll probably give him an 8. I'm probably over-egging the pudding a little bit. And I normally do go for Varane over Martinez. But Martinez, to me, he just edges Varane. They were very, very close, but he edges Varane because Varane is a world-class centre-back. I already know that. I've seen him do it for France. I've seen him do it I've seen him do it for Real Madrid. The reason I would give Martinez a little bit more tonight is because he's been playing in the Eredivisie. He's now playing like that for Manchester United with Rafael Varane, and he's his equal. He's a leader. He loves to bring the ball out from the back, left-footed as well. Tonight, I would just stand there and say, I want to give Varane 7.5 and I want to give Martinez an 8. But as a pair, they're brilliant. And that's what centre-back pairings are all about. They're all about being a pair. It's a dying thing now in football. A midfield 2 or a front 2. Centre-back 2 is the one place on the pitch where you are really dependent on your partner. And there's a centre-back, you go back, Bruce Pallister, Stam and Johnson, Rio and Vidic. Martinez and Varane, if they can stay fit and keep like this, we've got a pairing. They've got to do it all season. That's going to be the challenge because, as somebody quite rightly said in the watch along, I'm terrified of Martinez or Varane getting injured and then it's Maguire or Lindelof and it all falls apart. So yeah, I thought he was fantastic, Martinez. Malacia 7. Yeah, I feel that Malacia was just a little bit better than Delo tonight. He was the left-hand side worked a little bit better than the right-hand side, which is weird because obviously the goal penalty came from Delo getting forward. But I think Malacia was really good tonight and didn't look bad at right back either, did he, to be fair? But look, he worked tirelessly and again, he deserves a little bit more because Delo's got no competition at right back, really. You know, it's very obvious that Ten Hag doesn't rate Wan-Bissaka. And like Martinez, you know, he has got competition, Malacia. Luke Shaw, part of the England squad by sitting on the bench. I like Luke Shaw. I actually thought Luke Shaw would keep Malacia out, and I think Ten Hag thought that. He started him, didn't he, in the first 2 games? But, you know, the problem that Maguire and Luke Shaw have got at the moment is they're all, I mean, and they wouldn't do this, but the only way they're getting back into the team is injury. Because the issue you've got if you're Luke Shaw or Harry Maguire is you're not, if Varane has a bad game or Martinez has a bad game or Malacia has a bad game, you can't just drop them for one bad game. They've built up second and third chances, haven't they? If Malacia makes a mistake against Man City and we lose 1-0, you can't drop him for the Everton game because he's played well in the last 5. So that's the problem that Maguire and Luke Shaw and Lindelof has got. They're not getting their place back because Varane or Martinez or Malacia makes one mistake. So that really, they're sat on the bench until there's an injury or a really bad run of form, which is the way it should be, really. And that's how well Malacia is playing at the moment. I do rate Luke Shaw. But on form, it deserves to be Malacia. I think there's been bollocks written about Luke Shaw for many years. You know, that he's crap, he's this, that and the other. But the fact remains that leading into the Euros 18 months ago, he was one of the best left-backs in the world. Which sounds ridiculous now because he's not that anymore. But, you know, Malacia fully deserves that place. And, at the moment, it looks like only injury will cost him it. And hopefully that no one's going to get injured. McTominay 6.5 for me today. Obviously, it was a tactical reason to take him off at half-time. He didn't play badly. And, you know, I think the real interesting thing is going to be, will McTominay start against Man City or will Casemiro start against Man City? I think for the first time, Casemiro came on and looked pure quality. I know he misplaced a couple of passes, but look, McTominay did all right. He was tenacious in the tackle. His passing was reasonable. It's hard to take McTominay out of the team at the moment. It was, you know, for the last year, it's been piece of piss to take McTominay out of the team. Sometimes you'd pick the bloody groundsman or the chef over McTominay. He's been terrible. But the last few games, he's been better than average. He's been good. You know, he's been decent. And he does a job. And Ten Hag appreciates that. So, look, it's going to be harder and harder for him to stay in the team with Casemiro knocking on the door. But, you know, he did all right to McTominay today. And it was obviously a tactical reason that he was going to give him 45 minutes and then give Casemiro 45 minutes. I think the time is coming where you've got to put Casemiro in the team, but it might not be for Man City. Eriksen, again, probably 6.5 for me. 7 from you lot. Actually, yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to give him 6.5, but I think you're probably right. The reason, I just think that the first half we didn't get hold of the midfield as well as we should have done. In the second half, I think he was, very, very. In fact, yeah, I've got to give him a 7. Sorry, I have got to give him a 7. I'm just thinking about what I'm going to give Bruno, and they can't be close. Yeah, I'd give him a 7. I didn't think we got hold of the midfield in the first half as well as we could have done, but in the second half, with Casemiro sat there, what happened in the first half is we either tactically set up like that on purpose, but Eriksen wasn't meant to be the player taking the ball off the back four. I don't know whether it was McTominay or nobody was meant to do it, but when Eriksen takes the ball off the back four, you notice he's doing that, and he wasn't doing that in the first half. And in the second half, he wasn't doing it again, but Casemiro was. And that just gave Eriksen that freedom to still be part of the midfield, but also not having to come and take the ball off the back four and probe from a further advanced position, which is exactly where I think Ten Hag wants to use him. So, He was, in the second half, so tidy on the ball, doesn't waste it, no flicks, nothing like that, just keeps the ball, keeps the momentum rolling. So yeah, I'd give him a 7. Ronaldo played this way last season, not tactical, says Michael. And do you think McTominay has benefited the most from having real competition for his place, says Stephen? I think McTominay's a hard worker, and what he maybe lacks in talent, he'll never lack in dedication to work hard. And one thing we've seen with Delo is that, you can work hard under Solskjaer, but you're never going to get developed. If you work under Ten Hag and you work hard, you're going to learn things. And I think, one of the obvious things for me with Scott McTominay is when McTominay was playing under Solskjaer, he'd get the ball, he'd do a little pirouette on the ball, a little bunny hop, and then he'd pass it 3 seconds later. Under Ten Hag, he's passing the ball in the first second. That's going to make you a better player straight away. Simple. Have you finally seen Scott's qualities? About time, says Jenks. Yeah, but Jenks, it's that sort of knobhead comment, and it has to be described as a knobhead comment because what you're trying to do is say, I've always said that McTominay's a good player, and you're completely wrong. I've just completely sat you down. I don't agree with people who speak like this shit because it's basically, McTominay's proved you wrong, or Delo's proved you wrong, or Rashford's proved you wrong. Well, they haven't proved us wrong. They've not been good for that. Well, in the case of McTominay and Fred and Rashford, they've not been good for the last year. Like, they weren't playing like this last year. So how can you finally see McTominay's qualities when he hasn't shown them for the last year? I've just explained to you why he's better. Under Solskjaer, he gets the ball, he does a bunny hop, he turns around and he passes it backwards. Under Ten Hag, he's passing the ball forward in the first second. That's a different player. Those qualities weren't there last year. So he's not turned anything around. He's improved, and that should be applauded, which is why he's getting good scores. Simple as that. Bruno, 6 for me. I'm always very critical of Bruno when I have to be, and I'm always first to give him a big score as one of my favourite players when I need to. But you could give him a 6.5, but I think there needs to be a clear points gap between Eriksen and between Bruno, and I think that point gap should be 1. If Eriksen was 7 and good, I think Bruno was a bit average tonight. I thought his work rate was fantastic, and as captain, we've won another game. But I think there was a bit too many flicks. I thought, again, he's passing. You know what, actually? I'm feeling in a generous mood. I'm going to knock it up to 6.5, which I can't do. So I am going to go with a 6.5, and I'm going to go higher than you. I never do this. This is the second one I've changed my mind on. I'm normally very stubborn. The reason I'm going to change my mind is because in the second half, his link-up play with Sancho down that left-hand side was actually very good. But there was a lot of flicks. There was a lot of... He's one of those. For me, he's either average or slightly better than average tonight. So I would go 6.5 just to be generous because he was the captain as well. But there was a lot of waste of the ball as well. And some people are saying Bruno was a 5 and some people are saying Bruno was a 7. So it just shows you it's a bit of a divisive view. But you've got to give him a bit of credit as captain. You have. Anthony is definitely a 6. I will not move on this. I'm not going to give him a 6.5. 5.9 from you. I mean, look, what I would say is I'm not going below 6. I'd give him an average. He's a new signing in a new team, and we've got to be protective of him. It's the same as Ten Hag. They will get criticised. We've got to protect them as a fan base. We can't go, we have to do it. But I do agree that his performance tonight couldn't be a 6.5 and it couldn't be a 7 because he didn't really get loads of the ball. He didn't really do a lot with the ball that he got. And, there wasn't really a moment where I went, oh, Anthony was, that was brilliant. There was a glimpse. With Sancho, there was a few. With Anthony, there wasn't. I'm completely patient. I said this when we bought him. I didn't think... You can go back when we bought him. I said, I don't think he's going to hit the ground running. I don't think he will. I think we need to learn the lessons of Memphis and Sancho. And, obviously Memphis didn't work out at all. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it tends to be with wide players that it can take a bit of time. So, yeah. But I wouldn't turn it into an issue. I wouldn't. Sancho for me was a 7 tonight. Ooh, high five. We've hit it. Sancho with a 7. Yeah, the goal was fantastic. He should be in the England squad. There wasn't a lot going on, really. I don't think we attacked as well as we could have done. But when we did have the ball around the box, he's perfect. The little play with... This is what, Sancho's not a counter-attacking winger. If we're going to play on the edge of the box, Sancho's perfect for it. Little give and goes, keep the possession, little link-ups with Malacia. That's a relationship that's blossoming. So, yeah, I was happy with Sancho tonight. There wasn't a lot of the ball for him, but I was happy with Sancho tonight. Number 7. He's not number 7, is he? He got 7. Here he comes. Ronaldo. Ronaldo, for me, is a 6.5. Yep, we agree on that. 6.4 from you. Look, I found the link-up play and the dropping deep frustrating, but I've always found that, and he did it last season. Didn't really get a golden opportunity apart from the penalty. For all people saying he wasn't good, the clear-cut chance never actually happened. There's a couple of shots that were difficult, but he got his goal. You could see he was happy to get his goal. He's here till Christmas, at least. So the important thing for me was that Ronaldo gets that goal. You can't argue with his work rate. You can't argue with his, determination to score goals. I just like, there was a few crosses that went in the box today when he was in good positions and just lacked the height or direction. I'd like to have seen us put in a few chances for him like we did last week, but he was better than last week. He got his goal, so I'd give him 6.5. Casemiro, again, 6.5 for me. I sense that, I don't know what it is about Casemiro. There just seems to be something in our fan base that don't like him. And I don't understand why, because I was tempted to give him a 7. I think that Casemiro played really well. He came on and misplaced a couple of passes, but his ability to break up the play and his tenacious, bullying at times, that's what he is. I mean, if anybody watched the Champions League final against Liverpool had much more of the ball. They looked the better team, but they couldn't get past Real Madrid, and he was bloody superb that night. And look, I still think he's a little bit off getting used to playing for Manchester United, but I really do think that he made a big impact, and I think he's so good at reading the play. He's pointing, he's another leader, and I was tempted to give him a 7, but I sense this. I thought he played well against Sociedad, and people were saying he played shit. So I don't know whether it's some of our fan base don't like him, or some of our fan base don't understand what type of player he is. He's a midfield destroyer. That's what he is. He breaks up the play, he takes the ball off the back four, and he feeds players in front of him. That's his job. He's not going to break forward and score loads of goals. He's not going to take people on, and he's not there to play defence-splitting passes. He's there to break up the play, shield the back four, and allow people like Eriksen to go forward. That's his job. And he's still not totally at that level yet, really. Luke Shaw, let's just give him a 6. Alanga, let's give him a 6. Garnacho, let's give him a 6. Harry Maguire's not here. Okay, no Harry Maguire. I mean, it's hard to tell with Harry. He didn't look very happy. He never looks happy anyway. He always looks worried. But coming on for 2 minutes and grabbing the captain's armband was his highlight, really, wasn't it? That was his highlights reel. Ten Hag tonight, I think you've got to give him a 7. Yep, spot on. Completely agree with that. I thought that Erik ten Hag got it right tonight with his team selection, making sure that defence that's been pivotal to our run of wins plays together and learns together and keeps that communication going and provides yet another platform for Manchester United to win a game of football. I think that was so important. And yeah, I think that, professional job done effectively. So yeah, very happy with Ten Hag there. And yeah, not a lot more to say. I mean, these games away from home are rarely classics. I don't know why people think you go away from home in Europe and stuff teams playing scintillating football. It doesn't tend to happen that often. Your man of the match is Jadon Sancho. Well, I stand corrected, says the man in the orthopaedic shoe. It was absolutely surprised me with that. To be fair, it was shared out quite a lot. I mean, Ronaldo got a few votes because he's got a fan club. Martinez and Varane, 22 and 21%, and then a few others underneath. Eriksen got a few votes. So quite a low man of the match score. It's sometimes way over 50, 60%. But that just shows you that, certainly Martinez, Varane, Eriksen, and Ronaldo got a few as well. But Sancho with 26% of the vote. What are your thoughts about that? Jadon Sancho, well done. Sit down, Gareth Southgate. Fan forums on now. Make sure you smash a like on the video and do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. We're really close to 1.5 million now, and we're getting close to what would it be? 483,000. We're only a couple of hundred off. So please subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let's raid the forum with Sue, just to piss them off. Speak to you on the forum.